Hello. Just waiting for a couple people to come in. Trying to invite a couple people to come in. I hope. Oh, I almost made the wrong phone call. Yeah, I really would not want to contact that person. Let a couple people know that I'm about to do live. Should have already let them know. Yes. So, child abuse happens too often. Today, I was on the NASCA show. That's the National Association of Adult Survivors of Child Abuse. Today, I discussed primarily two different topics. One is the effects on domestic violence, how the kids are affected by it. And the second topic is sex trafficking or human trafficking. So part of the time is on one topic, part of the time. I said at Facebook, not at Facebook. I'm not doing a live at Facebook, live at YouTube. Under. It's all right now. All right. I don't know if this is start being recorded or what. And if it is, so what? I had learned quite a bit today and just want to um, hope that okay, sweet dreams to you. See if we could come in. My friends say it's okay. sometime I hope that I'll be able to afford to get a program where I can have different people come on and tell their stories. I think that would be very helpful. But earlier today, I watched a YouTube video. Let me see if I still got it on my screen. Yes. I advise each of you to watch the effects of exposure to domestic violence on babies and children. It looks like it was put on Sites Video. It was published on August the 16th, 2021. I hope each of you will go and watch this. You will be amazed at what a child goes through, especially babies that we think they're the most resilient. And we think that since they're unable to get up, that they necessarily didn't see whatever or hear whatever. So further from the truth. I just had someone that called me that I hadn't heard from in ages. I can't believe some of this stuff. I was wondering why this person didn't come back and see me. I knew that we hit it off. And then to find out one of my pedophile neighbors had told him that I was his girlfriend and that I didn't need to come back around, that he didn't need to come back around over here to see me. I already knew that people said that he had to move this location because he was getting in trouble, would not leave kids alone. So I did not really fully believe that because I did not think that that would happen in government housing, that they would let a pedophile here. Well, maybe this pedophile don't have a record. Maybe they did not do nothing to him since he is mental. I don't know. But I know he is sick and disgusting. It's very disgusting. What does this say right here? Be okay. There's so much I want to talk about. But I'm still waiting. I think what I'll have to do is to post a link as well. Go to find myself up. I know this is a bad time of day for a lot of people as well. All right. Hello. Yes. Copy that link. Now to go to Facebook, the book of faces. I love how my son teases and says that. Oh, it's cool. A friend of mine, I will promote some of my fellow authors. Oh, I don't want that. And I don't really know how to say her name, but she was given an award from a friend. Her name is Anita E. Latichuk, and she received the following gift: from one of her readers with the following note. I decided to make a very special award for my friend Anita E. Vlanichuk, who has dedicated so much time to her books to help others. I present you with this, a golden hour watch and a treasure chest with a figured flower watch. It is with love and gratitude for the inspiration you are to others. I send these treasures with love. Wow, that is wonderful. I love that. I've got other friends that have written books as well, trying to help their stories, their inspiration. I am also at the book awards for Hope PYX Global Book Awards that are supposed to be going on around the 21st of October. I say congratulations to this friend. But my friend Marcus Miller, he has done over 10 books. Boy, um, you don't mind reading graphical stories on him fighting human trafficking. He was trafficked as well. Um, I don't know if this. I did a book. Well, I really did two books. My first book was called Born in a Living Hell. I had it published through a company in the UK and Germany. Well, it had a different format system than what ours did in the United States. A friend of mine worked with word processing and plenty of other helped with plenty other books. So she knew the problem was not my fault because I kept sending it back to them when they kept saying, uh, when I kept noticing that the mistakes that's in it before it was to be published. So I will let them know so that they can delete the old file out, because there will not be a mix-up. So I contacted them and they said it was deleted. So then I had downloaded what they had and then I revised it and fixed it and I sent it back with the corrections. When By the time I got my book published, I was finally just so aggravated and agitated because at the time I could not afford to have it published. And if I hit that deadline by that day, then it'll be published for free. So I felt like they were doing this intentionally, making the errors back in that way because they put it back as the same errors as it had, which I had told them to delete that page since I got that other one out and I was about to resubmit it with the mistakes fixed. And then they said, okay, now you can put the new one back in. Every time I tried that, and then I got it back, guess what? Same mistakes. No matter how many times I fixed it and sent it back to them. And then later on, when they published it and I told them of the errors still, they told me it was my fault for resubmitting it so many times. No, you had told me to fix the mistakes, send it back. When I was happy with the fix, then just let them know. I had kept telling them I'm not happy, it needs fixed, da 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 da. So I felt like that was a game that they were playing to try to end up charging me for whatever. Well, part of our agreement was that um, I had to keep them for at least a year. They could go ahead and stop selling my book at any time before that year, uh, in which they never did. And after that year, I could request for them to stop publication of my book, and which I did. When I contacted them back, they said, you have to give us, I think, 3 months' notice. No, 3 months to go ahead and let all the companies know that your book would no longer be published. And I felt like that was strange. So, anyway, long story short, what started happening, and I kept noticing that I was getting different people telling me how they bought my book, and then I would go to this bookseller's website who I had the contract with, and every time I supposedly sold a Kindle version, it's supposed to automatically have been given to my account. And it was kind of funny that a lot of times the money wasn't there. It wasn't put over there. Although I kept hearing people say, I got a book everywhere I turned around. People said, and did not even know that I was her. I was Darlene. And I remember one time I was in Fred's and I heard two teenagers coming in there. Said, oh, did you hear Darlene Clark's story? And so here I was checking out at Fred's. Um, and I listened intently. They said, man, she's been through hell. Well, you think her book was called Born in a Living Hell? And then they started laughing. I said, hi. I hollered from where I was. I said, hi, girls. They looked like they were college students. I said, hi, girls. I said, how are y'all doing? I said, fine. I said, are y'all talking about Darlene J. Clark? They said, yes, ma'am. I said, did y'all buy her book? Yes, ma'am, we did. We bought the hardbound book, which that wasn't even showed on my thing either. As so, I was being ripped up every which way possible, and it was uh, the book was print to order, so your book the book was printed when you ordered it, and so I was never a lot of that I was never given. So when I started going to Amazon and I noticed that all these places that had like five more books to sell, then the next day I go, no more books to sell. Next day I go, 12 more books to sell. Then I see again that same seller go back to five more books to sell, three more books to sell, no more books to sell. And I wasn't seeing any of that money going into my account. And I'm like, this is strange. So I had contacted Amazon and they told me they could not do anything because I was not the person who had the deal with them. That my the person the company that printed my book is are the people who had that account with me. So I was not allowed to get the numbers on how many books they sold at Amazon. I noticed my books were being sold at Etsy. They were being sold all over the internet in so many stores and so many regions, and yet I wasn't getting any of this money. So I knew and felt dang sure that my money was being stolen from me. Um, so then, when it came to the point when no more of my books could be published, the 3 months had passed, all of a sudden, so let me explain to you. In the time frame, that gave the people enough notice to say, "Hey, this is her first book. This is a collector's item. Y'all go ahead and buy lots of books and stuff like that. She won't get no money for this. You could have bought the book in advance and everything." And they started selling my book for 100 something dollars a piece because it was a collector's item. The Softbound book they were selling for 100 something dollars a piece, and the hardbound book, which was normally 14.99, was being sold for 200 something dollars a piece. And they were being sold so fast. And I was shocked and like, I'm not getting any of the credit for this or any of the money for this either. And I really felt like I was kicked in the rear. Anytime I tried to call this company back, they never got back with me. I wanted to come to an understanding on, I didn't want to perceive that this had happened. And people asked me, said, why didn't you sue? I said, well, I'm in the United States and that's international. International because there are companies in UK and in Germany. That would be hard fighting that. Hello, how are you doing? Did you say hello? So then I was so glad and I knew, and I started telling people, do not go with that company because a bona fide true company, I feel like would have came back, would have responded, would have answered my request, would have talked to me. So then my second book is Shattered Innocence. This time I decided I was going to go through Amazon. I had a friend who knew someone that was a school teacher. So they came, they ended up helping format, check my errors, change my book around. And at Amazon, I have given him the credit. And I owe him a lot of thanks for going in there and formatting my book for me. I had someone before who had created an awesome cover for my book, but at the time, me and that friend were on the outs, so then I didn't feel like I needed to go ahead and use that cover. Although in my book, I did have it in there thanking him for the cover, and but that was not the cover that he made. The cover I used was not the cover he made. Reason, as you all probably suspect, that I went ahead and decided to publish with Amazon is because this time I could go in there, ask them, show me how many books have been sold. I could ask them this time because I'm the one that's got the actual account. I did not trust anybody otherwise. Of course, you could go through the costly ways of getting your book done, which they charge a lot to go ahead and help you edit it. But a lot of times, at there are even some college students that will be able to do things like that for you. There's some people who you would not suspect that might be able to format, help you in uh, getting your book organized for you. You can have friends to proofread it, what their take might be. They may lie to you and say it's good, um, but what we're really needing when we do it is like, help me find whatever mistakes is there, whatever errors were there. Do you think I needed to add a little bit about such and such on this as well? Or do you think that this is going enough in depth with whatever? But there are so many people out there who have written books. Like I said, another friend of mine, Barbara Joy Hanson, she's got Cry of a Child. I think that's the name of it. I have to look and see what the. I've got a copy of her book on account over there, but I think I need some glasses. Cry of a Child, I believe. I'm not going to go over there to parenting alienation at the moment, even though that is an important topic, parental alienation. I just, by the way, um, not too long ago, I received another child abduction Amber Alert, and it's in Wilson County, Tennessee, um, October 14th, 2019, Wilson County in Tennessee. I'm opening it up to see what I can find out. All right. Dang it. I don't want to log in. I just want to find out what it is. Where is the. I just do it. Come on now. It's not showing me that I don't want to download Twitter. No. They're not willing to show me an Amber Alert, and I have to download Twitter. You can forget it. If I had to download an app just to see an Amber Alert, why can't you see an Amber Alert without having to download the stupid app? HGTVI Pub Alert. Okay. I'm gonna go look up something else on. The friend I was telling you about. Well, she's not what you call a close friend. She's just someone, an acquaintance. Barbara Joy Hanson gives a face to domestic violence and sexual abuse trauma. International speaker and author of Listen to the Cry of the Child. Barbara is a survivor of childhood abuse. Okay, let me go to her. Okay, as an international speaker and author of Listen to the Cry of the Child, Barbara is a domestic violence survivor of childhood incest, preteen crime, and devastating losses include betrayal in her marriage, which led to infertility and adoption. After living with a silent scream for 38 years, Barbara facilitates the Beauty Out of Ashes support group. Yes, that is a great support group, Beauty Out of the Ashes, teaching battered women as well as working with male survivors online. She has a voice, a God given purpose, and a passion with his mission to help survivors, former addicts, prisoners, and sex offenders. So, if you want to support her and her mission, a friend of mine has got, if you're anywhere near Minnesota, 29th of October, she is having a domestic violence, how it affects the children seminar. There will be plenty of speakers there. You can also go to NASCA.org backslash, well, NASCA.org, or you can go to blogtalkradio.com backslash NASCA.org, NASCA Radio Show. Um, and you can listen to today's, and she talks all about that topic. And it's going to be a big to do in Minnesota and around the George Floyd's Park area. And the one that I will be involved in is the Human Trafficking Telethon, October 29th, October 30th. Okay, let me. Uh, Somebody's asking me where's my YouTube. Okay, I'm giving somebody the link. So, it'll be held in Albemarle, North Carolina, October 29th and October 30th, this Saturday and Sunday. I leave. Um, I need to get out my other. Hello, how are you doing? Hello, thanks for coming to my channel. This will be held in North Carolina. There will be plenty of artists and acts that are held today. Let me get my other laptop. This other laptop has not been working for me for YouTube videos. So I've had to, sorry, hope I don't fall off my table right here. Okay, I want to go to Traffic Rescue. Hello, how are you doing? How are you doing today? Oh, hanging in there? Well, it's good to see you. I like that name. Oh, you want to talk about it? Or I don't know if you want to talk about it here or whatever. I was talking earlier on the NASCAR radio show. Oh, you're in a restaurant right now still? Oh, okay. So today at the NASCAR.org, first I went ahead and defined what human trafficking was. So to define that, I went ahead and went to the justice.gov, and they say human trafficking is a crime involving the exploitation of a person for labor, services, or commercial sex. The Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000 and its subsequent reauthorizations recognize and define two primary forms of human trafficking. Number one, sex trafficking is the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, obtaining, patronizing, or soliciting of a person for the purpose of a commercial sex act in which a commercial sex act is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such act has not attained 18 years of age. The second is forced labor is the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, or obtaining of a person for labor or services, kind of like slavery, through the use of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of subjection to involuntary servitude, peonage, debt bondage, or slavery. What are you eating? Can you have some for me? Oh, cool. Is it any good? And the events, like I said, will be Saturday, October 29th, and Sunday, October the 30th. It'll be the rescue concert Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. midnight Eastern Standard Time. Telethon music and entertainment for a good cause. Exactly. Exactly. Good point there. You would not believe all the cool events that I mean, all the awesome people that's going to go and be on the telethon. And a good thing about this is if you cannot make the telethon, you can still go to this link, which, like I said, it's going to be held in Albemarle, North Carolina, in Stanley County Agri Civic Center. And I'll give you a list of the speakers, and then I'll give you a list of some of the people that's going to be um, performing there. Marcus Miller, oh, he's a good friend of mine. Well, yes, yes, he'll be virtual also. So they said if you do not get to make it to Albemarle, North Carolina, I would hope that some people would go that if they're close enough. And if they want to chip in, if they want to see hand on hand, the acts that's going to be going on as well. Yes, it's going to be televised. Basically, you go to traffickingrescue.org at that time, and you'll be able to watch it for free. So I think that's good. So one of the acts is Marcus Miller. He's an author and he's a survivor. He's written about 10 books. He is a real inspiration. If you could stomach what he has to say, because he helped with rescuing, and he helped with rescuing from some different countries as well. The other countries, there wasn't so many laws as there was when you go to rescue like today, like there is in the United States. You're not allowed to harm them like you would in another country you could and dispose of the trash. You know what I'm saying? Wow, that is good. That is wonderful to know. And then another lady is Elaine Reddick. She's an advocate in survival, which I believe she has a book as well. Tanisha Bankston, she's another survivor. It's got a book as well. Richard Widman is a speaker, activist, and advocate. He's got a big video on what he had to endure, and it was over some news stories, and it's on YouTube as well. Wow, that's great. Maybe you'll be about, excuse me, maybe you'll be able to let them know about this telethon that's going on in North Carolina, um, the 29th and 30th, and maybe some of them will be able to go up there to that too, you know? Mark Cooley, I'm not sure who he is. Pastor Ben Graham, Andy Ledford, Sheriff Richie Simmons, and Sheriff Jeff Crisco. And of course, I'm one of them. I probably forgot my name, Darlene J. Clark. Yes, October 29th and October 30th in Albemarle, North Carolina. And I don't know if you like Elvis Presley's music or not. Do you like Elvis Presley? Did you like Elvis's music? I mean, wow. December 2nd's always been a strange day for me because it's the day of Dad's death. Yeah, it's October 29th, October 30th. So it's going to be a couple days later, huh? 2 days after this event. It's going to be held at Stanley County Agri Civic Centers where this will be held. So they got the speakers and stuff, and I was trying to find out where just wanting to look at the talent thing, the shows, what's going to go on there. Okay, here we go. Here's the telethon content talent thing. Okay, and it seems to keep growing too. The featured artist Angie Marie. Did you like the show Pet Detective Ace Ventura Pet Detective? No, Jim Carrey. Did you like the show Ace Ventura Pet Detective by Jim Carrey? Ace Ventura. Uh-huh. Well, Jim Carrey, he is a comic, comedian. It's kind of funny. The Mask, he's in that too. But country music of yesterday will always have a special place in her heart. Its featured artist Angie Marie. So when she was a teenager, her love for country music first surfaced, and even sang a tune with one of country music's legends, Conway Twitty. He gave her fatherly advice that said, education first, then music. It makes me look more up to and respect it. I have more respect, even though he's deceased. You know, uh, but she got older. She went on to perform in a top 40 band called Rusty Evans Band in South Florida. And later in her life, while still in Florida, she worked in six major films. One of them called Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and she worked under her former last name, Corollo. Then there's going to be the fiddler and the flutist, and they're going to be from Monroe, North Carolina. I don't know if it's Dusty Evans or what. Uh, no, Rusty. Rusty Evans, not Dusty. Rusty. I said the wrong thing. It's Rusty Evans with the R. Then there'll be Brian Keith and the Mile High Band, Jenipool Band. I'm not familiar with them, Jenipool. Trisha Ann Band, Tribe Called Praise. And there's going to be two comedians, excuse me, two comedians. One is named Kennedy Robertson. The other his name is Glenn Yost, Yost. Then there's going to be Persona, I guess it's spelled like person with an A, Persona, Bell. She's music. And then there's going to be a magician, Jamie Petrush. So I think that's going to be rather interesting. I wouldn't mind there being there for the music either. Sorry. But one thing I got from that he sent me today or the other day, and I copied it and I shared it at NASCA radio show tonight also. It says, we have formed a coalition of 7 different charities that are on the front line of rescuing young people from the slavery that they are in. 2 of those charities will be building cyber units that tracks these criminals and works with police to capture them and release the victims of abuse. The one charity that investigates crime that backs up the first 2. The remaining 3 will be building housing projects for the survivors who are traumatized. Food, clothing, education, and health care to be provided while there. A minimum of 2 years with the purpose of helping these people to become productive citizens of our society once again. Our charity, Human Trafficking Rescue Incorporated, will be relieving these 6 charities from fundraising that takes more time than actually doing the mission of doing these charities are on. The idea being that we raise enough funds so support these full time so that they can spend 100% of their time working on their mission. More people can be rescued and more criminals captured and locked up. Yeah, I'm not that fond of Jim Carrey because of those things. Seems like he would never motivate me. I'm sorry. Just because the fact of who he was on how he treated his wife. Maybe wonder what kind of spouse he was. Um, oh, okay. I said, well, with if since he's that way, I would not even listen to him as a motivational speaker or supports cause just for the fact that that he actually talked to his wife that way and disrespected her that way. There's a nice way to say things, and there's a bad way to say things. So you mean the restaurant's open that late still? Yeah. Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah. It's kind of sad that it has to come to ways where people in today's world thinks it's okay to shut people out. To me, I think speaking takes a lot more than just being motivational, than just speaking. You got to act out what you're saying. So you basically got to walk the walk. You don't just talk the talk. That's where I let that from. Um, but I want to try to do, and I think that would be okay with some of my friends because some of my friends are actually trying to be on the international, it's on that board to try to win the International Book Awards through Hope PYX Global. And I do not mind going here every once in a while and telling a little bit about them. What kind of advice stuff did he give? Oh, It'd probably be hard to say what kind of advice. See, my ex-husband, he was abusive and he won the house and he won the kids and all that. And I learned a lot today. I went and watched a video, and it's at YouTube. If you want to go watch it, the name it's the name of it's called "The Effects of Exposure to Domestic Violence on Babies and Children." Awesome, I appreciate that. And so below, I mean, all in that video, oops, all in that video, they got. Uh, get back to it. Sorry, still got it blocked though. But the impact on domestic violence and children. Okay, so they got an introduction and they got objective, an agenda, and all that going on. What is domestic violence? I'm like, where is that one I was at earlier? That's it. The effects of exposure to domestic violence on babies and children. Yes. Two judges get on here and they start out um, talking about it. And so that's the introduction when they go around discussing, and so they're trying to stop and saying how bad it does hurt. And then the first part is talking about first impressions. And I've learned a lot just watching, some of this video tonight, and I'm kind of shocked at some of it. And they talk about the toxic stress that basically a baby or kids go through when they're going through this stuff as a little bitty baby on, and how it messes with the brain basically forever unless it's treated. Okay, I'll try to find it on my phone right quick and I could send you the link that way. Okay, get it that way. Okay. All right. Yeah, and especially I know about what happened in your childhood and how your mama treated you. And there was the first impression was very interesting because this lady had I took notes on it, but let me go to YouTube and find that video for you right quick, and then I will tell you the notes I took on it earlier. Okay, I guess we're late night people, aren't we? Oh yeah. Boy, how tough they like to treat the weak. You know what I mean? They try to, with the people that's dependent. They know you're in a stickler situation and they just want to intimidate and think that they can win over everything, but in the long run, they ain't going to win. You know, if I could tie it in half, right, it would be all right. So I had an interesting day too. I had to go to grocery store, and I went to several. Their point is, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. You can do nothing right. You can do nothing. It's like you sound like a dang recording. You cannot. If you went to court and you said that before a judge, you would not have any evidence to prove your point. Got it? So, okay. Okay. I'm fixing to send you the link to that video so you can learn more. You know what, when you describe it as scream and yell over and over and over and over, what that kind of reminds me of, and it kind of is making me laughing, which is sad, but you ever watched Jeff Dunham, the puppets? I really love Jeff Dunham, but he has a puppet he calls Walter. Let me write his name right here. He goes around and does his puppet shows around. Okay, you'll end up you could look at YouTube and watch some of his videos. He's got some YouTube videos too. They might be short and sweet, but you get the gist of it. But one of his puppets is Walter, and he's an older man, and he gets mad about everything his wife does, and he's doing his head every which way, looks like a bobblehead, you know? And he says, I told my wife, just go ahead, and if you're gonna leave me, just leave me, and bye. Never again. Whatever, just different things. He's kind of crude. But you're still at the restaurant, right? Okay. There's no way do I want to put you in danger. But I really do think that that's a good video to go see. Um, I texted it to your um, WhatsApp, and so maybe you'll be able to watch the different analogies. You're quite welcome. That tells us a lot. I mean, if we were damaged since birth, there were some aspects of our brains, since we didn't have the good people in our lives to go back and try to heal that wound that your mama put in you is always there forever scarred because you never got that love from the mother, okay? Instead, you got the condemnation from the mother. Oh, the thing that I said I was going to read that I had learned that I got today that was important, I'll go ahead and read it to you if you're still there. Okay. 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 Linda Chamberlain, she was a PhD NPH founded director Alaska Family Prevention Project was able to ride along with police to domestic violence situations. The first call she ever rode along was at dinner time. Spaghetti was dripping down the walls, the kitchen table was overturned. They believed the three children there was no evidence the children were physically harmed. They thought the children were fine. I'll turn my pages around. Okay, gotta go to page 2 here. Sorry. They learned differently. Child 1, it was a boy, had classic behavior. He had chronic exposure, violence. He would completely zone out, numb out as things began so scary. Do you know that feeling of zoning out, numbing out? I know I went through that quite a lot. I know I would go into fugue states as well, where I just stared off in the distance. People just had to try to get me back. I was somewhere else. I don't know where I was. Then there was the second child. She was 6-year-old girl, blamed herself for what's going on. So she thought she was the cause of whatever went on. Yeah, there's a lot of times we do blame ourselves. And the worst traumatized was a 6-month-old baby boy. And you're thinking, how could this baby boy be the most profound or severe harm from the situation? It did not show into evidence until he was 4.5 years old. He seriously injured another child in preschool just from what he had witnessed and what was on his brain, what he had endured that left like a stamp there on his brain when he was so young. When the baby's brains are like a sponge and they just kind of like learning new information, getting input. The people that's supposed to love and take care of him, even though he wasn't even abused, he was in the house when the parents, it was domestic abuse. And so they think that children aren't hurt in any which way, but this baby was hurt in this way by being a witness and hearing, and basically the parents not coming back to him to take care of his needs. Children in homes with domestic violence threats and even arguments end up physically, emotionally, and intellectually damaged. That's what I learned from watching the videos too. Children's brains are damaged by stress and anxiety. Exactly. What it is, why the younger child, they said even if there's a child is not in the home when the abuse is happening, like if they're gone to school, they could come home and they could see the house in disarray. They could see their whichever parent's injured, a black eye, a broken arm, which is usually the woman, but sometimes it could be the man. And it's not less of a man if he stepped down for not hurting a woman. He needs safety and stuff as well. Because I know of some women that actually went after their men with baseball bats and would attack them. One woman was about 6'3", overweight. I guess she had to be like 350 pounds. Yeah, she had a lot of strength. Yeah, knocked out teeth. I had a friend who Every time his wife got mad at him, she would call the police and say, "My husband's beating me." So one day, they got him and they took him to jail. Okay. And he was at work. So another day, he was at home, but he was out sitting on his car. And she was inside the house and she called the police. And what she didn't know was the police already arrived outside and they were standing beside the man. So on the phone, she was saying, "When are y'all getting here?" And she was banging the cabinets, banging the cabinets. "He's beating me. He's beating me. Don't you hear him now? Listen what he's doing to me." And that was kind of funny because the cop was standing right beside him. So how could he be in there beating her while the cop's outside standing with him? So the girl did not even get in trouble for a false report. And the man didn't go to jail, but the woman I think should have went to jail for wasting the police time making a false call. So guess what happened next? The cops told him it was best if he moved out. He was the breadwinner. He was the innocent one. Heck, I wouldn't have minded moving out too bad if I would have had the same assets, been able to. Like, I had a nice place in the country with my ex husband. Now I'm having to live in assistance like I am. I hate it. I kind of lost it today. Well, I wouldn't say lost it. I went off on the homeless guy across the street because I am so tired of him calling me he's a colored guy. I'm so tired of him calling me a white MFer, calling us all, anybody who passes, everybody that passes, we're all MFers, white MFers. That's going to be and kill every one of us to the ground. He pretends like he has a gun. He's going to shoot at us. So when I got back from grocery shopping, I done took the first groceries in from one store, and then I came. No, I was bringing the groceries in. Finished bringing them in, and I was bringing my sodas in and stuff. So I had it on the chair by my door while I locked my door. I had put my one of my bags down. All of a sudden, he started cussing me out, calling me white MFer with those grocery bags. He was ticked off at me because I wasn't bringing him my groceries that I just got through buying myself. He could stop and yell at people going down the street. He says, "Give me your whatever," and then they'll back the vehicle up and give him whatever he asked them for. I'm not like that. I ain't gonna give him all my food and stuff. I gotta survive. I told him I earned what I've got. I went and shopped. I did not go and just have this given to me. And then he started fussing at my male friend that drove me. And you know who I'm talking about, and I'm not going to mention the name here. Um, and was threatening him, but he was disregarded. He was putting his fist up and acting and saying that he was going to beat him up. And all because he was trying to scare us into giving him what we had, trying to intimidate us. And I told him he needed to shut up. I said, we have a police officer right down the road in the church parking lot that's not even a half a mile away from where we were. That I would be glad for somebody to call the police if he still continued, right? So then two of my neighbors came out. Are you okay? Are you okay? I said, no, I won't okay. He will not shut up. And he's threatening to beat me up. All because I said, I get so tired. I cannot even open my front door. He's always out there all hours of the night, cussing us all out, cussing everybody out, even cussing kids out that's toddler, 3-year old, and a 6-year old girl called her a white MFer too, telling her how low down that she is too. But I don't know why the police won't do no damn shit about it. Don't you think that's traumatizing the child? You not think that's verbally abusing a child? That's endangering the child? That's threatening the welfare of the child? Oh, and I'm wondering if that's what it might take is to call during one of the times when he's actually doing that to the child. You know what I mean? Um, so tomorrow's going to be a big day with tomorrow's another football game day. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of teams. And although I'm an Alabama fan, I still worry because Tennessee's got a good team this year as well. A lot of our players have been hurt. It's just a lot of different football games that's going on, so it'll be a big day. Hey, did I tell you about calling my grandson up on his birthday, the 11th? Did I tell you about that? I didn't. I did not. I did not mean. Yeah, that's one son that's in the military, but this is my other son. It's got a 5-year old. Okay. Well, it was my grandson's fifth birthday, and so I called him up, but his daddy was sick, and his daddy could not even go to work that day. He was so sick. Come to find out, they said he didn't get to go to the doctor to the next day. Said he had COVID and flu B. So anyway, he couldn't get up out of bed. He was so weak, and my grandson had the television on so loud he couldn't hear his daddy for a while. So finally, he kept calling my grandson, and my grandson got a phone, and so I sung him happy birthday. Oh, he had COVID and flu B. COVID and flu. I guess it's a B type of flu. That's what I thought too. Um, and so when I was talking to him, and I said, "How old are you?" You know how we tease kids, and we say, "Are not just kids, but how we tease other adults and stuff." We'll say, "What are you 30 years old now?" You know, what's their birthday, right? So my grandson, it's not good to tease a small kid like that. I came to realize. Okay, I hurt his feelings. I said, I asked him. I said, "Are you 2 years old?" He goes, "No, I'm 5." I said, "I know how old you are." I said, "I was just teasing." I said, "We joke about that with the ages when we're older." I realized the damage that I could have done, that I had done a little bit too late. You know what I'm saying? But I said, "You're as, I know how old you are. You're as old as you are. How many fingers you got on one hand?" He said, "That's right. I'm as old as how many fingers I got on one hand. And I'm as old as how many fingers I got on my other hand." It was so cute, but he was so mad at me. And then later on, I said, "Oh man, what did I do?" I said, "The boy is 5 years old. And how many times does a parent usually say, 'Ask your age. Don't act like a baby. Don't act like you're 2 year old.'" You know what I'm saying? No wonder he would be offensive. You know what I mean? You're not two anymore. You can't be toted around, you know? That really tugged at my heart afterwards, and I really gonna have to. I like that. Oh man. Oh man, that's good. I love that. You're wrong still, Grandma. But of course, it sounded sweeter than that since he's just 5 years old. But you could tell he was mad at me. He was really disappointed in me. And I said, "Do me a favor." He said, "What?" I said, "Instead of what, Grandma? You know, I usually do the what, Grandma, you know, real sweet." He went, "What?" I said, "Your daddy is real sick right now. So do me a favor and cut your TV down so that if your daddy needs you, so if he hollers for you, you can hear him, where you could go help him if he needs help. Can you do that for me?" He said, "Yes, I can." I said, "Well, thank you." He said, "Okay, bye, Grandma." So then he wasn't so mad at me when I told him thank you and was kind like that. I think he likes to know that he is um, being useful to help his daddy. Let me tell him, please turn your TV down so you can hear your daddy if he needs you. But he's in preschool right now, and I was afraid he wouldn't like it, but he likes it. Did you ever did you ever have to go to kindergarten? I never been to kindergarten. Me and my twin sister, we started first grade late. Loved it. That's cool. I remember our first day of school, we went, felt like it was the first day of school. That's the first day I remember. I really felt like it was our first day of school. Me and my twin sister went into the room and we both shared the same classroom at the time. And it was so much fun. It was my stepmom brought a birthday cake and we had a big party at school. I could not believe it. The class had a blast. The classes had a blast with celebrating our birthday. It was so cool. I remember when my oldest son was in when he was in kindergarten. It was so funny. They was having to read about Chick and Flint was the two characters, and I remember when we were in school, we had to read about Sally and Dick. See Sally run, see Dick run, run Sally run. Or see Tom run. It's just a couple names like that. It wasn't very many words. But it was weird when I went to first grade. I already knew how to read before I even went to school. That was strange. I picked up reading like that. My older sister, I think I call her, I don't remember which one I called her in the book, but she's an older sister that lived with us when Dad married my stepmom. And she said she used to read to me. Oh, how did she answer you back? Did she give you a hug? Oh, she had to know from what you were saying that you weren't treated really good at home. I'm so sorry. You deserve more than that, you know? Yeah. I think a lot of times, teachers do know. Sometimes I wonder if our teachers have found out that's why we had to move pretty frequently. Every time we turned around, we had to move again. Did not understand why. Oh, she probably didn't understand why you were saying that, you know, and it probably made her wonder, you know, makes her wonder if she ever said that to anybody about you saying that, you know. I'm hearing people slamming their doors, some of my neighbors. I don't think it gave her nightmares, whatever. Probably, well, it might have gave her nightmares. Just kind of imagine what kind of things you might have been going through, and then that, you know, in a day and time, police and everything allowed so much to happen. Sadly, yeah. Yeah. One thing I didn't understand, and I did not when I was living at home when I was 10. There was one lady at church that me and my 3 other siblings, that girl siblings, we all got to go home with her one Sunday, and, me and her had our own personal talk. Uh, it's like I had to be careful because after I eat certain foods, I kinda, like, got sick of my stomach, so she must have served something that I had trouble eating that made me sick, and, I didn't feel so good, so, she let me go in the house and go lay down on a cot. She gave each of us a beautiful bracelet, you know, because she didn't wanna leave any of us out, and she told me, she said she had asked mom if I could my stepmom, if I could go home with her, and she said not unless all the other 3 girls could come too. So she knew that she was not prepared for 3 other girls to come, 4 girls to be there at the same time. So then she went ahead and got the house ready a little bit more for prepared for 3 more girls, just to have me over at her house. I thought, "Wow." And she told me that they were letting it happen because she was gonna try to adopt me. Now why didn't they go ahead and let them adopt me if they were telling my huh? Yeah, the stepmother, my dad and my stepmother I was living with at the time. So the other girl, excuse me, the other girls with me, the other sisters with me, was a stepsister, and the other two were supposedly full blooded. What I can't understand is I was told three different times, thank you. I was told three different times of people that actually agreed to adopt me, and all three times either somebody reneged for some reason on my parents' side. And today I wonder why. And it's kind of simple if you think about it. Because once that lady would have took me to a doctor, or any of them took me to a doctor, they would have found the evidence of the sexual abuse. And I don't even know if they could have had to serve time if they would have done that, back in the 70s when this was. So I don't know if they would have ever had to serve time, but they were afraid. And it's kind of funny how after you grow up and you find out the truth behind all this. These people kind of like come out of the woodwork and tell you these things. But there's one lady that I used to go over to her house, and when I lived with my mom, and my mom told me they got tired of me going over there, that the people no longer want to be over there. And she said she never said that. As a matter of fact, we were going through the plan. We done gave her money to adopt you, and then she reneged. Like what? So basically, they were still selling me with a promise that I'll be their daughter, and then reneging on the contracts. You know what I'm saying? So I was sold that way too. So I don't see how. Like one time, went to a church event in Florida, and after the church event, we got to go to a party, and it was at a police officer's house. And he had all these wash basins of, remember them old, that you could pick cotton and you put in a farm and all that kind of stuff. You put the green beans and everything in or whatever, or laundry basket. You can use that to put it in and 10 things to be able to take it to wash. We had He had those, and it was filled with ice. He had about three or four different ones, I guess, filled with ice. They were filled with soda, Coke, Fanas to be sure, something like that. Shastas or Fanas or something. So anyway, I would walk up to him and I'll say, "Mr. Such and Such, may I please have a drink?" He said, "You could have as much, huh?" They were either Shastas, Fanas, they were colas, Cokes. Shastas or Fantas, something like that. The cheaper Cokes, but they were good. But he had these big old metal wash basins that you have out in the country that you could have out there for to put when you pick your garden, full of beans and stuff. Put all the beans in that big thing as you're going like that, and you're picking and or you shucking your corn and putting it down in that or something like that. We used to have to take baths and things like that when we worked out in the garden. That's why I call it a wash basin. But this police officer in Florida, when went to live with my supposed birth mom, the one supposed on my birth certificate, and the officer said, "You can have as many cokes as you want. You don't have to ask. Just come and get." But instead, I was always taught respect, right? So no matter that he told me that I could have as many as I want, when I wanted the second one, I still went up to him, "Mr. Such and Such, may I have another drink, please?" I was like that. And then somebody told me later that guess what? That he was one of them that it wasn't Coca Cola, it was like Fanta or Shasta. It was their brand, Shasta or Fanta. And I thanked him and everything. Now he just had the fruity flavors, you know what I'm saying? The fruity. So it was like the strawberry, the grape, the raspberry, the orange. I like those fruity drinks like the orange and the strawberries. No, no. One reason I still have a problem with my nose, I don't see if you can see the scar on my nose where it's been twisted. I got a bad scar across there. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it or not, but usually I can see it. I turn on the. I got a mark across my nose. It goes like this. Well, my dad used a pair of pliers and twisted my nose. So that's why my nose stays pretty well stopped up. I bet I need to go back to the doctor and have surgery again. I think if I had better lighting in here, it would show up better. But I'm see if I could use this. Like, see if I see it better. I don't know. I'm not embarrassed about it because it's just a fact that happened and it's not my responsibility. I mean, it's not something I did. I don't see, no, I don't think you can see it because it's too bright. Okay, then I can see it, right across here with that light. It's really lit right there. It's got a strange, weird line, it's crooked right there. And it was weird how I found out that that happened. All these years I had the nasal problems, and I kept going to doctors, and they said, "You're fine, you're fine." And then around 2001, after my divorce, yet again, I'm at my boyfriend's house. I live in a different town. I don't live in the same town where my husband and I lived. Ran away to New York State at first, but then I came back to Alabama for the divorce. Then I moved further away and further west, and then I at my boyfriend's house. I did live elsewhere before I lived with my boyfriend. Okay, so I lived alone for a while. But anyway, then my insurance, I was told to go to see this certain doctor that was an ear, nose, throat doctor, and he did a scan over my whole entire body. He ordered me to do a scan, so I had that done. And when I went back to see him, he said, "What happened to your nose went back when you were about 6 years old?" I said, "When I was 7, I fell out of a bunk bed and I landed on my nose." He said, "No, it's not from this. This was done intentionally." I said, "Well, I see my daddy coming at me with a pair of pliers." And I said, "I'm not sure whether or not he used them or not." He said that the plier grooves are still embedded in my cartilage. That one side was blocked all the way from when I was 6 years old. He could tell that it was like that since I was 6 years old. I guess he was very good. He's an Asian doctor, and sometimes the Asian and Indian doctors are very more knowledgeable for some reason. Back in that time, back in 2000, that's what I found out. And so I had to go in there and have surgery. He was afraid. He saw a lot of clots in there on the left. So he was afraid I had cancer. So he prepared me for that. That when he goes to open up, he don't know what to expect. But when I woke back up after it, he said, "Good news." He said when I opened it up, it just drained out. Hi there, get to know. How you doing, bro? Good to see you. Thank you so much. There's my friend. Do you see my friend Innovative Solutions? My bro, get to know. Even though we're not blood brothers, we met online and we became sister and brother. What, about a year ago? Oh, thank you. We talked about some important. Okay, I will. Do you want me to stay online and we continue talking? Okay. I'm done. Said she's going to the bathroom. It's hard to go back. Give her 5 to 10 minutes. See, some of the things that we discussed tonight, get to know. Like I had watched a video at YouTube, and I would recommend anybody to watch it. Okay, it's called "The Effects of Exposure to Domestic Violence on Babies and Young Children." I don't know if I hope that Innovative might put the link here. Yes, you dealt with that. Luckily, get to know. Yeah, it's been like 9 months since we met. Yeah, we defended one another, hadn't we? Yeah, when you get back, we can discuss parental alienation if you want to. Uh, get to know. Is there anything you would like to discuss? Would you like me to tell you about that? Some of the things I learned from that video. What's the surprise for me? Dang it! Why ain't my light wanting to work? There. What surprise, bro? Now I see that where my nose was twisted right there. Now it shows right there. Can't wait for the surprise. What's your surprise, bro? Okay, it says the effects of exposure to domestic violence on babies and children. There was one video that's was on very first one that showed on the effects of exposure, and it was two judges that was talking for it, and Linda Chamberlain, PhD and PH founded director, Alaska Family Prevention Project was able to ride along with police to domestic ready sugar glider. Hi, hi there. How are you? Y'all made my day. Y'all made my day. You truly did. Yay! I'm doing pretty good. I had a rough day today. Um, it was pretty rough. I had to stop somebody from going across the street to beat up that homeless guy across the street who keeps trying to attack us, threatens us and stuff. But we don't need him going over there and going to jail. So I had to run across the street. My neighbors called me right before the NASCAR show tonight, so I was prepared for the show and had to stop what I was doing and run over there and bring him back over. And he said, "Just stay away from me. I'm okay." And he did come back with me where he was getting ready to attack the guy. He come out of his shoes and he was unwound. So, so I guess I stopped a major catastrophe. Yeah, it is. That is a wonderful surprise. And how are y'all doing? Are you feeling any better? That is great. I was really worried about you that yes, it is. It's one hell of a surprise. Yes. When I first started this video, I started talking about my first book and what happened with it and about what took place and basically why I decided to go another route with my second book and stuff. I'm so glad. I was worried about you because, well, I guess I don't need to say that first one here, you know? I know that had to be a lot of pain. Yes, you do. You make so many people happy, I'm sure. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, a lot of people had asked me also the aspect on getting my book done. And so that's why I took the um, first part of this talking about, my first, second book, how I went about doing that and the reasons behind it. And then then I went on to discuss about the NASCAR show tonight on the topics we were talking about. And then the second one, especially, and I got some information from a video that's very important. If you got a pen and paper, it's a YouTube video. It is called The Effects of Exposure to Domestic Violence on Babies and Children. And in it, it's got a lot of different videos. And this was very important finding. Here's just some of the takes I took from it. Well, it was me too. I kind of felt like that wasn't like, yes, and I was supposed to be the one that was doing the show and helping her promote. And it was like, it's supposed to be you promoting yours and her promoting hers. It's not supposed to be, you know. And I'm like, that's not what Bill said. It's supposed to be me and her in a conversation, you know. But it worked out in the long run. I did take over the last part because when we started talking about it was time to talk about the human trafficking, and I know that you came on and you had a question for me and for the person to ask, you know, is there a question you want to ask Darlene or can you ask her afterwards? And I thought, what? Why can't he ask me now? Let him ask me now. So I didn't know if you hung up or whether she had hung you up or whatever, I was, yeah, okay. Because I told her, you said, hey, Darlene, I got a question for you. And he said, I don't know if you want to ask a question now or whether you'll ask her later. And I thought that was pretty rude if you did, if you asked me, because it was time that we got the topic on the other subject of, you know, Yes, I agree with you there. Okay, be sure you wipe it real good, because you never can tell. You be safe on your drive back home, Innovative. She's got to stay online. I'll go ahead and read y'all the first take of this, all right? Well, this lady, Linda Chamberlain, she was able to ride along with the police to a domestic violence situations. The first call she ever rode along with was at dinner time. Spaghetti was dripping down the walls. The kitchen table was turned over. They believed the three children there was no evidence the children were physically harmed. They all believed that the three kids were okay, that they were fine. Well, they learned differently. Child number one, here's a boy, had classic behavior of chronic exposure to violence. He would completely zone out and numb out as things began to get scary. Does that sound familiar with y'all? Zoning out, numbing out? Yeah, me too. And the girl, the number two child, it sounds familiar to me too because I was good at doing that too. She blamed herself for what was going on. Did y'all do that as well? It's almost like we had to facilitate and take all the emotions because we wasn't given nothing but, even though we couldn't act out our emotions. Exactly. Parents are to love and cherish the children. I did too get to know. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I did. And I had that in my book as well. And then the third child was a 6-month-old baby. He had the most profound or severe harm from the situation than any of them. Exactly. And see, there's a lot of people don't understand, that a lot of times I think that I'm fully merged or whatever, and I think that I am, or I thought I was. And I'll tell my children something, and my youngest son will say, "Mom, no, you're not. I just heard the little one speak out." Okay. Who left? What are y'all left? Well, bro, I understand. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still at that today, some things, because I get so tired of people saying the only way you heal is to deal with everything that you endured. I think if I had to find out everything that I endured, I don't think I'll make it. I really don't. Because the last thing I remembered was two devastating. The reason why this baby's was most profound, and they found out that he had the most harm, was what happened 4 years later when he was 4.5 years old. He seriously injured another child in preschool. They said because the baby's brain is like a sponge. And so while all that abuse was going on, while his brain is like a sponge, and other kids, theirs is not as sponge like. They're more personable, got a little bit more personality and all that behind them now and all. I kept I kept crying, and I felt like um, finally one of the people did ask me a question about the thing. Exactly. I really believe that that's the only way I survived this, y'all, is divine intervention. And I think some things, maybe if you don't remember, it might be best for you not to. Because remember, like I said, if I start crying, if I get emotional, um, I have a stroke usually. You know, I have one of my stroke things. So it's already numb and hanging down there. I had an episode where I fussed at the neighbor across the street. I got really mad and yelling and got tired of being called a white MFer. So they said that when children's brains are damaged by stress and anxiety, children in homes with domestic violence, threats, and even arguments end up physically, emotionally, and intellectually damaged. And I believe that. So, do you remember everything? I don't want to remember everything. Do you know the memory that I'm talking about? Get to know about my stepmom holding me down while her son raped me and I had a baby? Yeah. But I could only say that God's grace and mercy, I survived it. That's all I can say. Man, I can still remember how he looked when he was alive, man. I can still remember his face when he was, even though his eyes weren't able to focus and see me real good yet. Because when the baby's first born, they can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't see us clearly because it's like a little fuzz. You know. Um, I still remember looking at me, and I still remember him bonding with me, and how he wrapped his hands hand around my fingers. I still remember all that. We bonded. And the worst weird thing is, I had talked to a brother not too long ago, and he had asked me how I knew that this wasn't fake memories or whatever. And that is a good question, because a lot of times people try to say people are having fake memories or whatever, right? But when you have doctors that actually start validating some of the things because they find the physical injuries behind it, yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's happened. Who do you think was the most important person in your life who was your role model when y'all were young? Do y'all have an important role model? Oh, did you get to see her very often? Oh, are you the only child or you got siblings too? Wow. Okay, I'll try to contain myself, all right? It makes you feel good when somebody finally believes you. You know what I'm saying? The first person that actually believed me was a psychiatrist, and my friend helped me look him up, Innovative, and I found out that he had passed away in 2010 from cancer, and I didn't know. You okay? Sugar glider, you can share whatever. Oh, was that from the same kind of situation as mine? Get to know sugar. Take a deep breath. It's okay. And no matter what people say and try to tell us that they're with Satan, they're not. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry. I know that had to hurt too. Right. You do bond. It's a part of you. I'm glad they allowed her to be buried. I had ex daughter in law. I guess she was 7 or 8 months along when she had a I had him prematurely and he didn't make it. and they told them it's best just to let them just dispose of him. So I do not think they ever had a burial or anything for him. You know what I want somebody to do for me sometime? I really want to go to that property. Wow. What was her name? First name. You ain't got to give her last name, but what was her first name? Oh, it's cute. That's a cute name. Sierra. It's an awesome name. I went ahead and called mine John Paul because I had a brother that I heard he lived about 2 hours and then died. So I named him. Yep. You got to worry about me talking down to your wife, you know? You're quite welcome. Did she have any hair? I don't know if they would have had hair by that. Oh, wow. Still a beautiful name. I decided to name my first son through my marriage. The first son got his first name, and the middle son got his middle name. So that's how we did it. We didn't want a junior. You're quite welcome. And I had picked out the name of Jennifer Michelle if I ever had a daughter. And my ex sister in law said, if I have a daughter, can I end up taking that Michelle for you? Oh, and I said, sure. She said, because we want to name all our kids because their initials, both of their was MY. So they wanted the kids to have the initials MY. So I let them go ahead and take the Michelle name if they had wanted it. That doesn't mean I couldn't have named my daughter Jennifer Michelle if I had a Jennifer Michelle. You know what I'm saying? Because I like the name Jennifer. And Jennifer is the classification of my real name, by the way, of my J part of my name, anyway. Okay? Sorry. I'm sorry, get to know. She wanted to name you Curtin Douglas. Well, it's a lot better than a name than a guy that went to my son's class. I'm not going to go ahead and say the last name because that will be wrong. But what would you name a child Wolfgar? Let me write that name down. Oops. Why would you name the child that? So he was taunted in school really bad because of his name. I just wrote it in the chat right there above what name. You see it? I'll write it again if you don't see it. Can you see it now? Ragflow? It was sad though. And the girl, bless her heart, she said that she was a carrot, and they went to the Jerry Springer show, and they got thrown tomatoes at and everything because the parents were messing up their kids so bad. Oh yeah, them are bad. I'm glad I don't have to wear those rag stuff anymore. Yeah, I didn't hear my phone ring a while ago. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, the story behind the couple, it was very crazy, y'all. And I don't want to say that much about and sound gender based or whatever. But okay, I think they were first cousins. And when I went to the PTO meeting, and my oldest son, I was going to his classroom to talk to the teacher. I passed what I thought was a woman in a dress. Instead, it was a man in a dress, and I didn't know it. I said, "Hello, Miss Such and Such," and my son said, "Mom, that's the daddy." I'm like, "What?" Then I seen the other one, and they come out, and they could have been identical twins. They looked that much alike. It was freakish. The couple looked that similar. Have y'all ever experienced anything like that? I mean, a wolf spear? Oh, okay. But you can imagine how that today's society would see that name and be called in school. They would say basically he's an animal, not a real person, da 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 da, be teased like crazy. And really, the way I looked at him, I didn't look at him as having these that he was crazy or anything like that. I looked at him like he was probably a genius that nobody knew about. That's the way I saw him. Sometimes these geniuses are hidden by autism and other things as well. Why do they? Why do ducks have tail feathers? So you don't see their butt quacks? Oh man, look at me! You got me laughing so hard I got tears coming out. Look, that's a good one, bro. Oh man, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh man. Sometimes my kids tell me I've got dorky humor. I tell you one of the most. Who's there? Dwayne. Dwayne who? Dwayne the tub. You're drowning. Well, tell me what's that, please. I was guessing. Dwayne the tub. Yeah, I was right there, wasn't I? That's a good one. Had to think about Dwayne. Okay, Dwayne sounds familiar with Dwayne, so that's the way I figured it out. Oh no, bro, we got the same wavelength here. I'm scared. Had y'all ever seen the Pillsbury Doughboy eulogy? Had y'all ever heard that? His obituary? Okay, I'm gonna look for it right quick. Okay, get it open right quick. It is with a sadness of heart that I must pass on the following news. Please join me in remembering the great icon of the entertainment community. The Pillsbury Doughboy died yesterday of a yeast infection and complications from repeated pokes in the belly. He was 71. Doughboy was buried in a lightly greased coffin. Dozens of celebrities turned out to pay their respects, including Mrs. Butterworth, Hungry Jack, the California Raisins, Betty Crocker, the Hostess Twinkies, and Captain Crunch. Grave was piled high with flowers, FOLOURS, flowers. Aunt Jemima delivered a eulogy and lovingly described Doughboy as a man who never knew how much he was needed, like you need dough. Doughboy rose quickly in show business, but his later life was filled with turnovers. He was not considered a very smart cookie. He wasted much of his dough on half-baked schemes. Despite being a little flaky at times, he still, as a crusty old man, was considered a role model for millions. Doughboy is survived by his wife Plato, two children, John Doe and Jane Doe, plus they have one in the oven. He is survived by his elderly father, Pop Tart. The funeral was held at 350 at 350 for about 20 minutes. Yeah, the hostess Twinkie, yeah. Yeah, the hostess Twinkies. Yep. Looks like somebody likes Twinkies, huh? Where do the ding dongs come in a picture? Where? Yeah, I like them too. Okay. Have you? Sorry. Have y'all heard of the religious bra joke? A man walked into the ladies' department of a Macy's, and shyly walked up to the woman behind the counter and said, "I'd like to buy a bra for my wife." "What type of bra?" asked the clerk. "Type?" inquires the man. "There's more than one type." "Look around," said the saleslady, as she showed to see of bras in every shape, size, color, material imaginable. "Actually, even with all this variety, there are really only four types of bras to choose from." Relieved, the man asked about the types. The saleslady replied, "There are the Catholic, the Salvation Army, the Presbyterian, and the Baptist types. Which would you prefer?" Now totally befuddled, the man asked about the differences between them. The saleslady responded, "It's all really quite simple. The Catholic type supports the masses. Salvation Army type lifts the fallen. The Presbyterian type keeps them staunch and upright. And the Baptist type makes mountains out of molehills." I always thought that was a cute little funny joke about that, you know? What y'all think about people that really overly, uh, I know it's their choice or whatever, but when they actually hurt their body to actually want thinner hips, where they even remove some of their ribs, surgically have them ribs removed just to have the tiniest figure around, you know, type. One thing to note, the ribs won't be there to protect her. I think so too. The ribs will not be there to protect her intestines, or part that it usually would, her lungs or whatever. So you're back home. So you're back at the place now. Now I understand some people getting um, surgery, like when they got the what's that stuff when they got the like the cleft stuff like that, or they got um, like their face is deformed a little bit and they get it straightened up to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Wow, she did? Yeah, we're not talking about the ribs that you eat, silly. Get to know. I think he's wanting some barbecue ribs there, you know? Yeah, cleft palate. Yes. Now I can see the need for having surgery when I got a cleft palate up up in there and stuff. I actually known a family. It seemed like that went like all of his siblings had to have that surgery because they were born that way. Now that's not fair. You got to make us all hungry now. We're all going to want ribs. Yes, of course. Add the Twinkies. Hold on a minute. Got to have my good time, good night Bible reading. Hello, hello. Oh, I forgot that I need my earbuds. I was going hello, and I heard the echo over there. I'm in the middle of recording at YouTube, but we could go ahead and do the good. Yes, we'll go ahead and do our prayer. And I know every night we go ahead and to do the first little thing that our like our bear says, you know, that repeats. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Your love goes with me through the night and wakes me with the Amen. And wakes me with the morning light. Amen. Yes. Okay. You ready for the regular goodnight prayer? Do you mind? Do you want to be recorded on speaker and say goodnight prayer on the speaker on YouTube while I'm being live right now? Okay. He's going to say goodnight prayer, but we're going to stay up and talk. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you for all the blessings and protections that you provide for us.
and all our friends and family and all the others that you know that are in need of help and other things. And it's in Christ's name that we give you thanks, glory, and praise. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you so much. God bless you, and you have some sleep, okay? Good rest.
Yeah, thank you. And good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, and you sleep well. And know that we got the big game tomorrow, and it will be played on CBS, so you can watch it on your TV. So just letting you know, it'll be played on CBS either at 2:30 or 3:30. Okay, you're welcome. Well, good night. He said good night, everyone. No, that was my friend Bill. He lives in Alabama. It's a different one. He considers me a part of the family, and so does his mom and his sisters and stuff like that. Well, one of his sisters. They said, once you're a part of the family, you're always a part of the family. Want me to tell you how special they did of Christmas one time? I don't know. What they did one time, my Christmas with them, my first Christmas ever, they went ahead and they all got me Christmas presents, right? And so I was like, do I get to keep them? I know that sounds like a stupid question, me asking, do I need to keep my presents? But I mean, do I get to keep my presents? But they said, of course you can keep your presents as long as you want them. And I was like, yeah, no, that should not be difficult to understand that you get presents and you get to keep them. But you got to understand the day after Christmas, my daddy would burn them. He would throw them away. So I was used to not getting to keep my presents. And then my ex-husband basically started doing similar and just started not giving me gifts. So I wasn't getting gifts for all them years. Okay. So so his family made me feel important and special and cared about. So well, I hope you sleep well, Sugar Glider, and I am so glad that you're feeling a lot better. Lots of love for you. Innovative. What was that you was wanting to say about parental? I love you too. Parental alienation. I do have a couple other people, friends in my life that are going through that same problem. They have been alienated from their children, and it really tears into their hearts and souls because they're not able to see. Just when you're a mom, you're a mom. Okay, so instead of gotta cook ribs, you're going to bed. Okay, the boss. Yes, we could go ahead and leave and we'll leave this live. I want to thank y'all for coming. I enjoyed the talk. You missed a couple good jokes that the two had told. He had me laughing. We got a sit down comedian there, in the room, get to know. And you see that? You see that question he did? Why do ducks have tail feathers? So you can't see their butt quacks. Well, sweet dreams, bro. And we'll go ahead and text on WhatsApp or whatever. Okay? Okay. Well, I love you all and thank you so much. Bye bye.